Admiral Han walked through the long white halls of the Galactic Council station. His boots made soft sounds on the polished floor. Around him, aliens of many shapes and sizes moved in different directions. Some had 4 arms, some had no arms at all, some floated in the air. None of them looked at him. They never did. Humans had joined the Galactic Council 50 years ago. In that time, they had fought in 3 major wars to protect Council space. They had shared their technology. They had opened their trade routes. They had done everything the Council asked. And still, after all these years, they were treated like unwanted guests. Han stopped at a large door. It was made of something that looked like gold but was much stronger. Behind this door, the Council was meeting. They were deciding the future of Earth, and Earth had not been invited to speak. Ambassador was already waiting outside the door. She was a small woman with sharp eyes and gray hair. She had served as Earth's voice in the Council for 20 years. Han had never seen her look so tired. "They started an hour ago," she said. "They did not tell us." Han felt anger rise in his chest, but he kept his face calm. "What are they voting on?" "Sanctions," said. "They want to punish us for the incident." The incident. Han remembered it well. A human colony ship had been attacked by pirates near the system. The Council's protection fleet was supposed to help, but they never came. So the human navy came instead. They destroyed the pirate base and saved 2,000 colonists. The Council called this aggressive military action in neutral space. "We saved our people," Han said. "We did what they would not do." "They do not see it that way." His voice was bitter. "They see humans who did not wait for permission, humans who acted on their own. That scares them." The golden door opened. A tall creature with blue skin and 3 eyes stepped out. This was Delegate Mora of the Republic. He had been one of Earth's few friends on the Council, or so they had thought. "Ambassador," Mora said. His voice was like music, but his words were cold. "The Council has reached a decision. You may enter to hear it." They walked into the great chamber. It was a massive round room with seats rising up on all sides. Hundreds of alien delegates sat in those seats, watching. In the center of the room was a single platform where speakers could stand. The High Chancellor sat at the highest point of the room. He was an ancient creature, his body mostly machine now. His species had founded the Council 10,000 years ago. He spoke rarely, but when he did, everyone listened. "Earth," the Chancellor said. His voice echoed through the chamber. "You stand accused of breaking the peace treaties. You moved your military into neutral space. You attacked without Council approval. How do you answer?" Stepped onto the platform. She stood straight and spoke clearly. "We answer that we protected our people when no one else would. We sent distress calls for 6 hours. No Council fleet responded. Were we supposed to let our colonists die?" Murmurs spread through the chamber. Some delegates looked uncomfortable, but most looked angry. Delegate Mora stood up. The Council fleet was delayed by administrative procedures. If Earth had waited. "If Earth had waited, 2,000 people would be dead," interrupted. "How long should we wait, Delegate? How many of our people should die while we follow your procedures?" The chamber exploded with shouting. Aliens yelled in a dozen different languages. The translators in Han's ear could barely keep up. The Chancellor raised one mechanical arm, and silence fell instantly. "We will vote," he said, "all in favor of sanctions against Earth." Han watched as the lights on each delegate's seat turned colors, green for yes, red for no. One by one the lights changed. Green, 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 so many green lights. Even Delegate Mora's light turned green. When the voting ended, stood alone in a sea of green lights. Only 17 delegates had voted red, out of over 800. "The motion passes," the Chancellor announced. "Earth will face the following sanctions: reduction of trade rights by 60%, removal from the Security Council, restriction of military movement to Earth system only, and mandatory inspections of all Earth vessels." Han felt like someone had punched him in the stomach. These sanctions would cripple Earth. They would lose access to critical resources. Their economy would collapse. Their ships would be trapped in their own system like prisoners. His hands shook, but her voice stayed steady. Chancellor, these sanctions will cause suffering to billions of humans. Children will go hungry. Hospitals will run out of medicine. Is this truly what the Council wants? The Council has voted, the Chancellor said. Earth may appeal in 5 standard years. 5 years. Earth could not survive 5 years under these sanctions. Looked around the chamber. She looked at all the alien faces that watched her with cold eyes. She looked at Delegate Mora, who would not meet her gaze. Then something changed in her face. The tiredness disappeared. The desperation disappeared. What remained was something hard and sharp, like a blade made of ice. Very well, she said. Her voice was calm now, almost peaceful. The Council has made its decision. Now Earth will make ours. She turned to look directly at the Chancellor. For 50 years we have given everything to this Council. Our blood, our technology, our loyalty. We asked for nothing but fairness in return. And this is how you answer us. The chamber was completely silent. You think these sanctions will control us, continued. You think cutting our trade and trapping our ships will make us weak. You think wrong. She stepped down from the platform and began walking toward the door. Han fell into step beside her. Ambassador, the Chancellor called out. Where are you going? We have not finished. Stopped at the door, she did not turn around. Yes, you have, she said. You have finished with Earth and Earth has finished with you. In 1 month every human will leave Council space. Every treaty will end. Every agreement will be void. You wanted us gone. You will have your wish. You cannot survive alone, Delegate Mora said. Humanity needs the Council. Now turned. She looked at Mora with eyes that burned like stars. No, she said softly. We do not. But soon, very soon, you will wish that you still had us. She walked out of the chamber. Admiral Han followed her. Behind them, the shouting started again, but neither of them looked back. In the corridor, Han spoke quietly. Ambassador, did you mean what you said? Kept walking. Every word, Admiral, every single word. The Council will not let us leave peacefully. Then they will learn what happens when they try to stop us. His voice was like iron now. Contact Earth Command. Tell them to begin Operation Homecoming. Tell them it is time. Han nodded and pulled out his communicator. As he sent the message, he felt something strange in his heart. It was not fear. It was not anger. It was hope. Humanity had played by the galaxy's rules for 50 years. Now it was time to play by their own. President stood at the window of his office, looking down at the city below. Seoul had changed so much in the last 100 years. The old buildings still stood next to towers that touched the clouds. Flying vehicles moved through the air like schools of fish. It was beautiful. All of Earth was beautiful. And soon, it would be cut off from the rest of the universe. His assistant, a young man named, entered the room. Sir, the United Earth Assembly is ready. All 200 representatives are present. Nodded slowly, and the military. Admiral Han reports that all fleets are in position. Operation Homecoming can begin on your word. Closed his eyes for a moment. When he opened them again, they were full of determination. Let us go make history. The United Earth Assembly met in a massive hall in Geneva. Representatives from every nation on Earth sat in curved rows, facing a central stage. Behind the stage, a huge screen showed the blue and green Earth floating in space. When President walked onto the stage, everyone stood. The applause was loud but short. People were too nervous for celebration. They all knew why they were here. Raised his hand, and the hall fell silent. My fellow humans, he began. 3 days ago, the Galactic Council voted to punish our people. They want to take our trade. They want to trap our ships. They want to inspect our homes like we are criminals. Murmurs spread through the hall. Angry voices, scared voices. They did this because we saved our own people, continued. They did this because we would not let 2,000 colonists die while waiting for permission. They call this aggression. I call it survival. He paused and looked around the room. Every eye was on him. For 50 years we have been part of the Galactic Council. We have followed their rules. We have paid their fees. We have fought their wars. And what have we received in return? Insults, suspicion, fear. They look at us like we are animals that might bite at any moment. A representative from Brazil stood up. Mr. President, if we leave the council, we lose access to jump gates. We lose medicine. We lose technology. How will we survive? That is an excellent question, said, and I have an excellent answer. Dr. Myra, please. A woman walked onto the stage. She was short with glasses and messy hair. Dr. Myra was the head of Earth's Secret Research Division. Very few people knew she existed. 15 years ago, Myra said, Earth began a project called Silent Dawn. The Council did not know about it. No one knew about it. Our mission was simple: make humanity independent. She pressed a button and images appeared on the screen. Ships, weapons, medical equipment, things that looked nothing like Council technology. We have built our own jump drives, Myra said. Faster than anything the Council has. We have created new medicines that can cure diseases the Council cannot. We have developed energy sources that will last for 10,000 years. The hall erupted in shocked whispers. The representative from Brazil sat down slowly, his mouth open. We did not want to use these things, Myra continued. We hoped we would never need to, but now we do. President stepped forward again. My fellow humans, we have a choice to make. We can accept the Council's punishment. We can become their prisoners. We can watch our children grow up in chains. His voice grew stronger. Or we can leave. We can take our people and go home. We can build our own future without asking permission from aliens who hate us. We can show the universe what humanity can do when we are free. He raised his fist. I say we leave. I say we cut every tie with the Galactic Council. I say we show them that humanity needs no one but ourselves. The hall was silent for 3 heartbeats. Then the cheering started. It was like thunder shaking the walls. Representatives jumped to their feet, shouting and clapping. The vote was quick. 197 in favor, 3 against. Earth would leave the Galactic Council. The next month was chaos, but it was organized chaos. Admiral Han commanded the largest movement of ships in human history. Every human vessel in Council space received the same order: come home. Military ships, cargo ships, passenger ships, research ships, all of them turned toward Earth. The Council tried to stop them. At the Nexus station, a fleet blocked the jump gate. Admiral Han's ships simply flew around them, using their new jump drives that did not need gates. They watched in shock as human ships vanished into nothing and reappeared on the other side. At the trade hub of Prime, Council officials tried to arrest human merchants. The merchants laughed and walked onto their ships. When the officials tried to follow, they found that human ships had new shields that could not be broken. Across the galaxy, humans packed their belongings and said goodbye to alien neighbors. Some aliens were sad to see them go. A few even asked to come with them, but most watched with cold eyes and said nothing. Commander Sara led the evacuation of the human embassy on the Council. She was young for a commander, only 32 years old, but she had earned her rank through skill and courage. As her team loaded the last boxes onto the transport, an alien approached her. It was Delegate Mora, the who had voted against Earth. Commander, Mora said, please, this is madness. Earth cannot survive alone. You need our resources. You need our protection. Sara looked at him. She remembered when Mora had pretended to be Earth's friend. She remembered how he had voted with the others to destroy her people. We needed your protection 3 weeks ago, she said. We needed it when our colonists were dying. Where was it then? That was complicated, Mora said. Politics, you do not understand. I understand perfectly, Sara interrupted. You were afraid. You were afraid that if you helped us, the others would turn on you, so you betrayed us to save yourself. Mara's blue skin turned darker. This meant shame. The Council will not forget this, he said quietly. They will come for Earth. They will punish you for leaving. Sora smiled. It was not a friendly smile. Let them try, she said. Let them bring their fleets to our door, and when they do, they will learn something important about humans. What is that? Sara leaned closer. We are at our most dangerous when we have nothing left to lose. She turned and walked onto her ship. The door closed behind her. Within an hour, the last human had left Council space. On Earth, people watched the ships come home. They filled the sky like stars falling upward. Millions of humans returning to the world their ancestors had left. It was the largest homecoming in history. President gave one final speech. It was broadcast to every screen on Earth and every human ship in space. Today we close a chapter of our history, he said. Today we end our relationship with the Galactic Council. They did not want us as partners. They wanted us as servants. We refused. He paused. Tomorrow we begin a new chapter, a chapter where humanity writes its own story. We do not know what the future holds. We do not know if the Council will leave us alone or try to bring us back by force. But we know one thing. His voice rang with pride. We are humanity. We have survived ice ages. We have survived plagues. We have survived wars that almost destroyed us. And we survived because we never, ever gave up. The universe thinks we are weak without the Council. They will learn how wrong they are. The broadcast ended. Across Earth, people hugged their loved ones. Some cried, some laughed. All of them felt something they had not felt in a long time. Hope. In his office, Admiral Han watched the last reports come in. Every human was home. Every ship was accounted for. Operation Homecoming was complete. Now came the hard part. Now came the waiting. Han looked out at the stars. Somewhere out there, the Council was watching. They were probably planning their response. They were probably thinking of ways to make Earth suffer. Let them think, Han told himself. Let them plan. They do not know what is coming. No one did. 6 months had passed since the humans left. Commander Sara sat in the control room of Earth's border station, watching screens that showed nothing but empty space. Her job was simple: watch the border and report anything unusual. So far, there had been nothing to report. The Council had not come, not yet. Anything new? Asked Lieutenant Jun, her second in command. He was a tall man with tired eyes. 6 months of waiting had made everyone tired. Nothing, Sora said. Same as yesterday, same as the day before. Jun sat down next to her. Maybe they forgot about us. Sora laughed softly. They did not forget. They are planning. They are waiting for the right moment. Or maybe they think we will come crawling back. Jun shrugged. Maybe they think we will starve without their trade routes. Maybe. Sora looked at the empty space on her screen. But they do not know about Project Silent Dawn. They do not know what we have been building. Far away from Earth, in the Council's central system, the alien leaders were indeed watching. But they were confused. High Chancellor had called an emergency meeting. The great chamber that had voted against Earth was now filled with worried voices. Delegate Mora sat in his usual seat, but he looked different. The confidence was gone from his face. Report, commanded. His mechanical voice silenced the room. A military officer from the Empire stepped forward. His species looked like tall insects, with 4 arms and hard shells covering their bodies. Chancellor, we have been monitoring human space for 6 months. What we have found is disturbing. He pressed a button and images appeared on the central screen. They showed empty space, just stars, nothing else. This is the border of human territory, the officer said. As you can see, there is nothing there. I see stars, Chancellor said. What is your point? The point, Chancellor, is that 6 months ago this area was full of human stations, defense platforms, sensor arrays, all of it is gone. Murmurs spread through the chamber. Perhaps they moved everything closer to Earth, Delegate Mora suggested. They are afraid of our attack. The officer shook his head. We considered that, but look at this. Another image appeared. This one showed a ship, a Council scout vessel. We sent 12 scout ships into human space to gather information. This is the only image we received back. The ship transmitted for exactly 3 seconds before going silent. Silent, Chancellor leaned forward. What do you mean silent? I mean the ship vanished. No explosion, no distress signal. It simply stopped existing. All 12 scouts met the same fate. The chamber erupted in nervous chatter. Chancellor raised his mechanical arm for silence. What about long-range sensors? He asked. What do they show? That is the strangest part. The officer looked uncomfortable. Our sensors show nothing. Human space appears completely empty. No ships, no stations, no signals. It is as if Earth itself has disappeared. That is impossible, Mora said. A planet cannot disappear. We know, and yet we cannot find it. The officer spread his 4 arms in a gesture of confusion. Whatever the humans have done, they have made themselves invisible to our technology. Chancellor was quiet for a long moment. When he spoke, his voice was slow and careful. So you are telling me that an entire species has vanished, that we cannot find them, cannot contact them, and cannot spy on them? Yes, Chancellor. And anyone we send to investigate disappears. Yes, Chancellor. Turn to look at the assembly. Does anyone else find this concerning? No one answered, but the fear in the room was thick enough to taste. On Earth, things were very different. The planet was not empty at all. It was busier than it had ever been. In a massive underground facility, Dr. Myra walked between rows of machines that hummed with power. Workers in white coats rushed back and forth, carrying equipment and checking readings. Status report, Myra said to her assistant, a young woman named. The cloaking field is stable, reported. We have expanded it to cover the entire Sol system. Nothing outside can see in, not light, not radiation, not gravity waves. To the Council's sensors, we simply do not exist. Excellent, and the fleet? Smiled, ahead of schedule. Admiral Hand says the new ships will be ready in 4 months. 200 battleships, each one more powerful than anything the Council has. Myra nodded with satisfaction. Good, what about the other projects? They walked to another section of the facility. Here, scientists were working on something that looked like a small sun trapped in a metal cage. 0-point energy, explained. We cracked the secret last month. One of these generators can power an entire city for 1,000 years. We are building them as fast as we can. And weapons. His face became serious. The kinetic accelerators are ready. One shot can crack a planet in half. We have also developed biological shields that can stop any known weapon. And she hesitated. In what? Myra asked. Project Ghost. His voice dropped to a whisper. It is complete. Myra stopped walking. Project Ghost was the most secret of all their work. Even President knew only the basic details. Show me, Myra said. They went to a room at the deepest level of the facility. Inside, floating in a tank of blue liquid, was something that looked like a human brain connected to thousands of wires. We call her, said. She was a volunteer, a pilot who was dying of cancer. She agreed to become the first of her kind. What exactly is she now? Myra asked softly. A consciousness without a body, but she is connected to every ship, every station, every weapon in our fleet. She can be everywhere at once. She can think faster than any computer. She can fight battles in 1,000 places at the same time. In the tank, the brain pulsed with soft light. A speaker crackled. "Hello, Dr. Myra." The voice was female, warm, almost playful. "I have been waiting to meet you." Myra said, "How do you feel?" "I feel everything. I can see the ships being built in orbit. I can feel the power flowing through our generators. I can hear the Council's scouts dying as they enter our space." Laughed softly. "It is beautiful, Doctor. I am everywhere. I am everything. And when the Council comes, I will be their worst nightmare." Myra felt a chill run down her spine, but she also felt hope. Back in the Council chamber, Chancellor made a decision. "We cannot let this continue," he announced. "The humans are hiding something dangerous. We must act before it is too late." "What do you suggest?" Mora asked nervously. "We will assemble the Grand Fleet. Every species will contribute their best ships. We will go to human space in force and demand answers." "And if they refuse to answer?" His mechanical eyes glowed red. "Then we will take our answers. The humans have made themselves our enemies. It is time they learn what that means." The assembly voted. The Grand Fleet would be assembled. In 3 months, the largest military force in galactic history would march on Earth. But in her tank on Earth already knew. She had intercepted their communications the moment the vote was taken. She had read their plans. She had calculated their movements. And she had smiled. "Let them come," she whispered into the network that connected all of humanity. "Let them bring their fleet. Let them think they are strong." Across Earth, humans heard her voice in their dreams. It was strange but somehow comforting. "When they arrive," promised, "they will find out what fear really means." In his office, Admiral Han woke from sleep with her words echoing in his mind. He looked out the window at the night sky, where invisible ships were being built by invisible factories. The silence was almost over. Soon, the universe would hear humanity's answer. The pirate fleet called themselves the Red Claws. They were famous across the galaxy for their cruelty. 50 ships filled with the worst criminals from a dozen species. For years, the Council had tried to stop them and failed. The Red Claws attacked trade ships, killed passengers, and vanished into the dark spaces between stars. Their leader was a massive creature named. He had 6 arms, each one covered in scars from 100 battles. When he smiled, 3 rows of sharp teeth gleamed in the light. Today was not smiling, he was running. "Faster," he screamed at his pilot. "Move faster." Behind his ship, Council warships were firing. Plasma bolts lit up the space like angry stars. 2 of his ships had already been destroyed. 3 more were badly damaged. "Captain," his pilot said, "there is nowhere to go. The Council fleet has blocked all jump points." Looked at the tactical display. The pilot was right. Council ships were everywhere. After years of hunting, they had finally cornered the Red Claws. "Wait," pointed at the screen with one of his 6 arms. "What is that sector, the one marked in gray?" "Human space, Captain, but no one goes there anymore. The humans left the Council. They sealed their borders." "Exactly," Smile returned. "The Council will not follow us into human space. They are too afraid." "But Captain, we have heard stories. Ships that enter human space never return." "Stories to scare children," waved his arm dismissively. "The humans are weak. That is why they ran away. We will hide in their space until the Council gives up, then come back out." The pirate fleet changed direction. They flew toward the gray zone on their maps. Behind them, the Council ship stopped at an invisible line. "Red Claw vessels," a Council commander's voice came through the radio. "Do not enter that space. It is forbidden territory." Laughed and turned off the radio. The pirate ships crossed the border into human space. For a moment, nothing happened. The stars looked the same. Space was empty and quiet. "See," said, "nothing to fear. The humans are hiding like rats. They probably do not even know we are." Every light on his ship went dark. In the complete blackness, heard his crew screaming. He heard machines dying. He heard something else too, something that sounded almost like laughter. Then a voice spoke. It came from everywhere and nowhere. It was female and warm, but there was something terrible underneath it. "Welcome to human space," the voice said. "My name is, I will be taking care of you now." The pirate ships tried to run. Their engines would not start. They tried to call for help. Their radios were dead. They floated helplessly in the dark. "You are criminals," said calmly. "I have read your records: murder, kidnapping, torture. You have caused so much pain to so many innocent people." "Who are you?" shouted into the darkness. "What are you?" "I am humanity's guardian, and you made a very bad decision coming here." Outside the pirate ships, lights began to appear, small at first, then growing brighter. Ships were uncloaking all around them. Human ships, dozens of them, but they looked nothing like the old human vessels. These were sleek and deadly, covered in weapons that glowed with strange energy. One by one, the pirate ships were taken. Not destroyed, taken. Capture beams pulled them into larger human vessels. The pirates inside were removed and placed in cells. It happened quickly and quietly. Was the last one captured? As human soldiers dragged him from his ship, he looked up at the walls of the human vessel. They were covered in screens, and on every screen was the same face. A woman with calm eyes and a small smile. "What will you do with us?" asked. "You will face justice," said. "Real justice. Not the council's politics, not bribes and deals, simple justice for your crimes." Was taken away. He was never seen again. The council fleet that had been chasing the pirates watched from the border. They had seen the pirate ships enter human space. They had seen nothing else. The pirates had simply vanished. The fleet commander sent a report to the council. It said only 3 words: "They are gone." News of the Red Claw's disappearance spread fast. Soon, other stories began to emerge. A smuggler tried to use human space as a shortcut. His ship vanished. A rebel group fleeing the government crossed the human border. They vanished too. But some people came back. Refugees. Poor people running from wars and famines in council space. They would cross into human territory expecting to die, but instead, they found something strange. A young named was one of these refugees. Her colony had been destroyed in a border war. She had no family, no money, no hope. She stole a small ship and flew into human space, thinking it would be better to disappear than to starve. Instead, she was met by a human ship, not a warship, a rescue vessel. They gave her food and medicine. They treated her wounds. They asked her questions in her own language. "Why are you helping me?" asked. "I am not human." The human doctor smiled at her. His name was Wu. He had kind eyes. "You needed help," he said simply. "That is enough reason." "But your people left the council. You hate aliens." "We do not hate anyone." Wu's smile faded a little. "We were tired of being treated badly, but that does not mean we stopped being kind. Kindness is what makes us human." Stayed with the humans for 3 months. She saw their cities, their technology, their way of life. She was amazed by what she found. The humans had built wonders in their year of isolation. Cities that floated in the sky. Farms that grew food without soil. Machines that could make almost anything from almost nothing. But more than that, they had built a society where everyone was cared for. "How did you do all this so quickly?" asked one day. Wu shrugged. "When you stop spending energy on politics and fighting, you have more energy for building. When everyone works together, amazing things happen." Eventually, asked to leave. She wanted to tell others what she had seen. The humans let her go. They gave her a small ship and supplies for her journey. "Tell them the truth," Wu said as she left. "Tell them we are not monsters. Tell them we just want to be left alone. But also tell them this: if anyone threatens us, we are ready." "Ready for what?" asked. Wu did not answer. He just smiled and waved goodbye. Returned to council space. She told everyone who would listen about what she had seen. Most people did not believe her. A few did. Chancellor heard the reports. He heard about the pirates who vanished. He heard about the refugees who returned with wild stories. He heard about technology that seemed impossible. The Grand Fleet was almost ready. 3,000 ships from every species in the Council, the largest military force ever assembled. In 2 weeks, they would march on Earth. But for the first time, Chancellor felt something he had not felt in centuries. Doubt. Perhaps, Delegate Mora said carefully, we should reconsider. The humans have clearly become more powerful. Maybe we should try to negotiate instead of attack. Negotiate, another delegate laughed. With those primitives, they are bluffing. They are trying to scare us with tricks and stories. The argument went back and forth. In the end, the vote was the same as before. The Grand Fleet would attack. Earth would be brought back under Council control, by force if necessary. On Earth, listened to their decision through intercepted communications. She felt something that might have been sadness. They are coming, she told Admiral Han through the network. 3,000 ships, 2 weeks. Han was standing in the command center of Earth's new flagship, a massive vessel called the Dawn. Around him, officers were preparing for battle. Are we ready? He asked. Yes, said, we have been ready for a long time. Han looked at the tactical display. It showed the Sol system in perfect detail. Ships were positioned at every important point. Weapons were charged. Shields were raised. How many ships do we have? Han asked. 250 battleships, 1,000 smaller vessels, and me. Han nodded slowly. They have 3,000 ships, we have 1,200, those are not good odds. His voice became warm, almost amused. Admiral, odds only matter when both sides are equal, trust me. When they see what we have become, they will run, and those who do not run. She paused. They will wish they had. Han looked out the window at the stars. Somewhere beyond those stars, an army was coming. They thought they were coming to crush humanity. They had no idea what was waiting for them. The Grand Fleet gathered at the edge of human space. 3,000 ships filled the darkness like a swarm of angry insects. Every species in the Council had sent their finest vessels, battleships with weapons that could melt moons, carriers filled with fighters, destroyers fast enough to catch any prey. Chancellor watched from his command ship at the center of the fleet. His mechanical body hummed with anticipation. After all these months, the time had finally come. Signal all ships, he commanded. We cross the border in 1 hour. The humans will submit or be destroyed. Across the fleet, crews prepared for battle. They checked weapons. They said prayers. They wrote final messages to loved ones. Then something strange happened. An officer looked at her sensor screen and frowned. Chancellor, I am detecting something unusual. What is it? Unknown energy signature, coming from the galactic rim. It is very large. Before could respond, the communications channel exploded with noise. Every ship in the fleet was receiving the same transmission. It was a distress call, broadcast on every frequency. This is Colony World Velar 7. We are under attack. Unknown enemy, ships like nothing we have ever seen. They are eating our planet. Please, someone help us. The transmission dissolved into screams, then silence. Felt his mechanical heart freeze. Velar 7 was a major colony. 10 million lived there. Get me visual, he ordered. The screen changed to show long-range sensor data. What it showed made no sense. A cloud of blackness was moving through Council space. Not ships, something else. Something alive. Billions of creatures, each one the size of a building, swarming like locusts made of shadow and teeth. What is that? Delegate Mora whispered. He had come to watch the attack on Earth. Now he looked like he might be sick. I do not know, said, but it is heading toward the core systems, if it is not stopped. He did not need to finish. Everyone understood. If that swarm reached the heart of Council space, it would destroy everything. Chancellor and Admiral spoke up. We have to intercept. The humans can wait. This threat is more important. Nodded slowly. You are right. All ships, new orders, forget the humans. Move to intercept the unknown enemy. The Grand Fleet turned away from human space. They jumped toward the invaders, hoping they were not too late. They were too late. The swarm, the Council would later call them the Void Swarm, moved faster than anything they had seen before. By the time the Grand Fleet arrived, 3 more colony worlds had been consumed. Billions were dead. The battle that followed was a nightmare. Council ships fired everything they had at the swarm. Plasma, missiles, nuclear weapons, nothing worked. The creatures absorbed energy like sponges absorbing water. They wrapped around ships and tore them apart like paper. In 4 hours, half the Grand Fleet was gone. 1,000 ships, millions of soldiers, simply eaten. Chancellor watched his fleet die around him. His ship was damaged, drifting helplessly. Fires burned on every deck. Most of his crew was dead. Is there anyone left? He called on the emergency channel. Any ship still fighting? A few weak voices answered. Maybe 200 ships remained, against billions of creatures. It is over, Mora said softly. He had survived somehow, hiding in an escape pod attached to ship. We cannot win. The swarm will consume us all. Closed his mechanical eyes. He had lived for 10,000 years. He had seen empires rise and fall. He had never felt true despair until now. Then his communication officer, the only one still alive, spoke. Chancellor, we are receiving a transmission. It is coming from human space. The humans opened his eyes, put it through. The screen flickered. A human face appeared. It was an old man with gray hair and calm eyes. He wore a military uniform covered in medals. This is General of Earth Defense, the man said. We have been watching your situation. Watching, felt sudden anger cut through his despair. Our people are dying, the galaxy is being destroyed, and you have been watching. Yes, said simply. We have been watching you face the consequences of your choices. You pushed us away. You tried to destroy us. Why should we help you now? Because if you do not, the swarm will come for you next. Smiled slightly, will it? Behind him, through a window on his ship, could see something. Ships. Hundreds of human ships, arranged in perfect formation. They glowed with strange energy, like stars that had learned to fly. Please, Mora spoke up, his voice cracked with desperation. I know we wronged you. I know I voted against you, but there are innocent people dying, children, families. They did not vote. They did nothing wrong. Please help them. Was quiet for a long moment. His eyes moved to someone off screen. He seemed to be listening to something no one else could hear. When he spoke again, his voice was different, softer. Says you are sincere, said. She says you truly feel regret. Is that true, Delegate Mora? Mara was confused. Who is? A friend, the best friend humanity ever made, straightened in his seat. Very well, we will help. But understand this, we are not doing this for the Council. We are not doing this because we forgive you. We are doing this because innocent lives matter, even when they belong to people who hurt us. He looked directly at. Remember this day, Chancellor. Remember what we are about to do. And remember that you had the chance to be our allies. You chose to be our enemies instead. The transmission ended. For a moment, nothing happened. The swarm continued to advance. The Council ships continued to die. Then the sky split open. Human ships poured out of nowhere, appearing from holes in space itself. Not hundreds, thousands. They moved in perfect coordination, like a single organism made of metal and fire. And leading them was something that description. A ship as large as a moon, shaped like a sphere of pure light. It pulsed with energy that made the stars seem dim. What is that? Breathed. That, said his communication officer with wonder in her voice, is broadcasting its name. It calls itself the human fleet attacked, but attack was too simple a word for what happened. They did not fight the swarm, they erased it. Weapons fired beams of light that cut through millions of creatures at once. Shields wrapped around council ships, protecting them from harm. And the great ship, she sang. That was the only word for it. Energy poured from the ship in waves, and wherever it touched the swarm, the creatures simply stopped. They froze in place, then crumbled to dust. In 3 hours it was over. The void swarm that had killed billions and destroyed worlds was gone. Every last creature was dead. The human fleet floated among the wreckage, silent and terrible. Council survivors stared at them with something beyond fear, beyond awe, beyond understanding. General appeared on every screen in the remaining fleet. "The threat is ended," he said. "The swarm is destroyed. What remains of your fleet may return home safely. We will not stop you." "Wait," said, his voice sounded weak even to himself. "Please, we need to talk, we need to thank you, to apologize. Perhaps we can start again." Shook his head. "Chancellor, let me be clear. Today we saved you because innocent lives were at stake. Tomorrow, if you threaten Earth again, we will not be so kind. We do not want to rejoin your council. We do not want your friendship. We want to be left alone." "But humanity does not need the galaxy anymore, Chancellor. We have it. We have become something you cannot understand, something you cannot fight, something you cannot control." His eyes were cold but not cruel. "Go home, rebuild your worlds, mourn your dead. And remember this, the next time you think about attacking Earth, remember what we did today. Remember how easily we could have let you die. Remember that we chose mercy." The screen went dark. The human fleet vanished as quickly as it had appeared. One moment thousands of ships filled the sky. The next, empty space. Chancellor sat in the ruins of his command chair, surrounded by the wreckage of his fleet. For the first time in 10,000 years, he felt small. "What do we do now?" Mora asked quietly. Looked at the stars. Somewhere out there, humanity was watching, waiting, protecting themselves from a universe that had rejected them. "We go home," said. "We rebuild, and we pray that we never give the humans a reason to return." Far away on Earth, watched through a billion sensors as the council fleet limped away. She felt General standing on her bridge, looking at the same stars. "Do you think they learned their lesson?" asked. "Some of them," replied. "Not all. There will be others who forget, others who think they can challenge us. And when they come..." Vast consciousness turned inward for a moment. She thought about humanity, the species that had created her, that she had sworn to protect. She thought about their kindness and their cruelty, their weakness and their strength. She thought about how far they had come in such a short time. "When they come," she said finally, "we will be ready. We will always be ready, because that is what humans do. They survive, they adapt, they overcome, and they never ever stop." Smiled and placed his hand on the wall, his body, soul. "That they do," he agreed, "that they do." Outside, the stars burned on, indifferent to the small creatures that moved among them. But among those creatures, one species had proven itself different. One species had been pushed down and risen higher. One species had been rejected and become stronger. The universe had tried to break humanity. Instead, it had made them eternal.